In Ukraine, another child is confirmed dead tonight after this weekend's Russian missile strike on an apartment building. One of at least 6 children killed in the attack that claimed dozens of lives in Dnipro. It is another reminder of the continued horror faced by Ukrainians in this war that Vladimir Putin launched nearly a year ago. One of his most trusted allies in that mission is the head of the private military group known as the Wagner Group, Yevgeny Prigozhin, who you see on the right. He's been recruiting inside Russian prisons. He told a group of former convicts today who are said to have fought in Ukraine that their, quote, criminal talents are no longer needed. He reminded them again, quoting, not to end up in the slammer again, implying they were now free to live their lives outside prison. Yet tonight, we're learning much more about the defection of a top Russian mercenary once in the Wagner Group, one who offers a stark description of what happens to some of those recruited into the war effort. CNN's Nick Robertson has more.
Andrei Medvedev is lucky to be alive. The former Wagner unit commander says he fled Russia in a daring Arctic escape, dodging bullets and dogs across a frozen river to Norway.
I've been chased. I'm afraid for my life.
Afraid, he says, because he has witnessed the murderous atrocities in Ukraine committed in the name of his ex-boss, Wagner oligarch Yevgeny Prigozhin, aka Putin's chef, and he wants to tell all. Russians killing Russians, some of them former prisoners freed from Russian jails to fight for Wagner.
I know cases where prisoners were demonstratively shot dead for refusing to fight or for betrayal. They were showing fighters, here, this is what will happen to you.
He says he joined Wagner in July last year, signed up for 4 months, fought near Bakhmut in eastern Ukraine. But when Prigozhin began recruiting former prisoners to swell Wagner's ranks, Medvedev saw a deadly change, wanted out as his contract ended, but wasn't allowed to quit.
Since the moment the prisoners have come to serve with us, strange things and murders of their own recruited prisoners by the Wagner security service and foolish orders such as sending us to die as cannon fodder started to happen.
He is the highest ranking Wagner fighter to flee to the west. His eyewitness account of Prigozhin's murderous practices in Ukraine is revelatory.
He is really target for the Russian special forces, for the security service from Wagner Group. It's a very high risk of die.
Human rights activist Vladimir Osechkin helped Medvedev escape, has made sure his story gets out.
It's very important to do the international investigation about this. It's very important to open this information to the Russian people, to understand what has happened.
Medvedev's biggest revelation will likely be the most damaging to Putin and Prigozhin's recruitment drives. Last month, Prigozhin recorded this callous video, purporting to pose in front of his dead fighters in body bags, claiming their contracts were complete and they were on their way back home. But Medvedev says he's seen the truth. Many fighters never making it home because Prigozhin is too cheap to pay out insurance on their death.
The majority of the prisoners were buried and then declared missing. The insurance only pays out money to relatives of the deceased if the body was identified and handed over to the relatives. So they were just declaring everyone as missing.
Well, right now, Medvedev is at a secure location in Norway, telling investigators every detail that he can remember. He says he didn't commit a crime, but wants those responsible for all the murders to be brought to justice.